is taken from Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 to 33. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the winds, because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it is you," Peter replied, "tell it to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat and walked on the water and came towards Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, and cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Thank you. Look at that, absolutely perfect. What are you worried about?
Oh, no, it's horrid reading.
Right, let's just pray before we come to here on earth. That story might have to do with us. Heavenly Father, please, would you speak? Lord, would you take, Lord, my feeble and name ramblings, and Lord, would you somehow speak by your Holy Spirit into our lives. Father, thank you that your word is living and powerful and active, and although thousands of years old, is alive now with the power to change. Lord, would you speak to us, we pray. Amen. Okay, there's also another notice that I failed to give out at the beginning, which is that there are some people sat here this morning who do not wish to know the result of this morning's rugby match. So if anyone gives out the results, you will be taken outside and literally prayed for. You do not want that to happen, so keep the results to yourselves. Okay, we are in the middle of a series looking at what it means to be an invitational church, or an invitational people. And we have come to the middle of this series where we're going to look at failure. And it's kind of like, oh brilliant, we're going to talk about failure, and we're going to be made to feel failures. No, we're not, because we are all failures, but brilliantly redeemed failures by God. Why are we failures? Because we all fail. Let's be honest. We all fail in loads and loads of different ways. And I was thinking to myself this morning, what is my greatest failure? And the list was so long, I didn't quite know which one to pick. So I thought I would go for, now some of you will have been present at this greatest failure. I thought I would go for my greatest public failure at St Mary Magdalene. Which I'm trying to even place it now. I think it was about 18 months ago. You can hear it. It's still on our website. You might have to dig a little bit. But it was an 11:15 service. Jonathan Baker never lets me forget it. Because I started my talk with the immortal line, when I've had a bad day, I go home and there are a couple of websites I like to visit to make myself feel better. And as I said it, and I was going to say now, it's now on the internet twice after I've said it this morning. But you know, when you get in a situation where the words get to kind of halfway, kind of down on your tongue, but you can't, your brain begins to scream at you, stop, 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 but the words are already gone, and it can't quite happen, and then they're out there. And I remember that I was stood at the front of church, and Jonathan was sort of over there in my eye line, and Dan Burton, for those of you who know him, was kind of over here. And Jonathan kind of just sat bolt upright and kind of looked at me with a kind of fixed expression. And out of the corner of my eye, I just saw Dan Burton's shoulders begin to go. And it's at that moment, you just kind of, I don't know where to go. And then so I looked over here, towards this side, and Nick and Pam Gwilt, I remember, were sat over there, and Pam was giving me one of those looks, as if to say, are we about to have an open time of confession? And I was just kind of went into meltdown, panic mode. I'd like to put your minds at ease that the website I was talking about, which I thought there's no way back, just sort of crashed straight on. The website I was talking about is a website called You Only Had One Job, which is a website full of mistakes that people have made. Do go have a look at it, it's very fun. We will leave it there. But we all, and those of us that have sort of public roles, have moments of abject, embarrassing failure. And if I'm honest, and if I think we're all honest, times where we fail eat into us and leave wounds and scars which to some extent dictate the rest of our lives, produce wounds and scars which we feel like we cannot be forgiven for or healed of, even though we know that we can be. Yet somehow deep within us that voice just goes, oh yeah, but you're a failure. What if they really knew what you were like? Simply, if you really knew what I was like, you might not want me as a vicar, quite frankly. Because I'm just like we all are. And there's no point any of us kind of going, I'm different. Because we're all in the same boat. We're all failures. But the incredible thing is that God uses us. And I'm going to put this right at the front here. It's a central sign. And God uses us, and He looks at you, and He looks at me, and He says, you're not a failure. Even though you fail, you're not a failure. You are my daughter. You are my son. I deeply, deeply love you. Because the heart of the message of the gospel is that God became a failure to save failures. God became a failure to save failures. And because He became a failure to save failures and to change them from being failures to being part of a family, it is the most extraordinary good news that you and I can be swept up into. When church is working at its best, we can come, admit our failures, and not judge one another, but forgive one another and journey on together. The cross is the place where failures become family. You are not a failure. You might fail, as we all do. But God says, you're my daughter. You are my son. And I want to use you. And in the course of this series that we've been looking at, I've set us this little 8-word challenge. Would you like to come to my church? Those 8 words. That probably, if we're honest, and maybe hand in the air as well, some of you are looking smug as severe this morning, going, I've already done it, and they've come. I'm not going to point them out. But it's amazing, because it works, guys. Would you like to come to my church? And I've got to admit to you this morning that I have already failed on it. Because a few weeks ago I said, we're going to pray and we're going to see if God puts somebody in your mind that you can invite to church. And as I was trying to stand here and look remotely holy, in that moment, and then this person's face came into my mind. And during my first thought was, Lord, not there. I was like, oh, heavens above. I've got to go and ask them. Now, this person is the husband of a lady that comes to church. We've come to this church a long, long time. And he's already said to me, almost in about a few weeks of being here, he went, You'll never get me. And I looked at him and I was like, I didn't know I was out to catch people, imprison them. And I said to him, I might not get you, but God will. And he went, oh. It's like, I kind of like left the conversation. That's a really cheesy line. I should never have said that. And then his face popped into my mind again these years later. And I was like, God, I'm going to ask him the 8 words. And so I kind of thought about it. I was like, how can I do this? Kind of, don't be so direct. Maybe kind of, hedge my bets a little bit and do it. And I thought, oh, brilliant. It's a bloke. He likes beer. I can invite him to beer and Bible. That's the way to go. It's he'll really enjoy that, and I think he really would. So I thought, I was like, and I went, there's a load of us guys in church. We're going to be at the pub on Tuesday. Do you want to come? And he went, no. And I was like, oh no, God, I failed. But the thing is, guys, the answer isn't down to you and me. We're the ones that just hand out the invitation. But my first thought was to think, oh my goodness, I failed. But if you've been here at the 9:30 service, Miranda was stood here preaching, and she told a story of a lady years and years ago in a different church she was at. She was prompted to do the same thing, to invite this lady to church. And it was a lady called Sally, and she went to Sally's door. There was the prologue to this story is that in about January, she felt prompted to go and ask Sally to come to church. In June, she had a friend come and stay. He was a Scandinavian, and she said he could not deal with his accent, so she needed to get out of the house. And then she suddenly realised it was now June. In January, she'd been prompted to ask this lady, and she was like, oh my goodness. It's been 5 months, I better go and talk to this woman, invite her to church. So she leaves and she goes to Sally's front door. And she gets Sally's front door and she knocks on the door and Sally opens it. And Miranda says in the most kind of feeble and weak way possible, she goes, oh, would you like to come to a small group at my church? And she went, no. She's like, oh my goodness. And she walked away from that doorstep encounter and she was like, do you know what though? The result isn't down to me, it's just down to me to pose the question. And although I might feel like a failure in what I've done, I know God is going to honour it. She saw Sally 6 years later. Sally had become a church warden. And is that a great thing to happen, Greg? I'm not quite sure. That's an all right thing. But God honoured that. I did not fail. I asked the question. That's all I did. The result is down to God. Paul wrote that he planted stuff. A guy called Apollos followed him and in his words watered it, as in kind of Paul went, told people the gospel, started a church. Along came Apollos following Paul and told them more about faith in Jesus Christ. And then he ends the verse with, but God made it grow. It's not down to you and me, folks. The result's down to God. The result is down to God. And so, Peter, love Peter, what a hero. I love him because he just always says the wrong thing at the wrong time. Yes, I relate to that. He tries to do stupid things that don't work. Yeah, I can relate to that. And so here he is, in the boat. He's in the boat, he's just seen Jesus feed 5,000 men plus women and children. It's probably about 12,000 people. He's just been blown away by what God has done. And he's in the boat. Jesus got up on the mountainside to pray. You can imagine he did. He just fed 12,000 people. He needed some time out. He's got up on the mountainside to pray. And Peter's in the boat. And a storm with some of the other disciples. And a storm comes up. And Jesus is, he's gone up on the mountainside to pray. You can imagine the conversation. Meeting with his father. And the father's like, go down and walk on that water. Jesus, seriously, I've just fed 12,000 people. Give me a break. Go and walk on the water. So Jesus comes down up the mountain. I mean, can you imagine? You're on a boat in the middle of the Sea of Galilee at night in a storm, and someone begins to walk towards you on top of the waves. I'd be like, I'm dreaming. Something's going horribly wrong here. What on earth is that? I've seen a ghost. Oh my word, the world is about to end. And Peter goes, Jesus said, that is you. Tell me to get out of the boat. And Jesus says, come. And Peter gets out of the boat. At this point, I want to tell you a quick law from the world of business. And this is from a lady called Rosabeth Moss Cantor, who came up with a thing called Cantor's Law. She was a lecturer at Harvard Business School, and she interviewed and she studied thousands of people that had felt they wanted to go out and start a brand new business. They had an idea. And they thought, this is brilliant, let's go do it. The vast majority of those people who had gone out and started a brand new business had an entrepreneurial idea. They had failed in the middle. Cantor's Law says that if you're going to step out, she was coming up with a biblical principle, but she didn't know it. If you're going to step out in faith, you will fail in the middle. So what happens to Peter? He gets out of the boat. Extraordinarily, he begins to walk on water towards Jesus. In the middle of a storm, there are big waves, things like lashing around, and everything is going fine till he gets to the middle of the story. And what happens? He takes his eyes off Jesus and he looks at the circumstances around him. And as he takes his eyes off Jesus, he begins to sink. Many of you will know that this time last year, I wasn't here. This time last year, I was off work. Why? Because the first week of July last year, I had a breakdown. Now, there are lots and lots of reasons for that breakdown, lots of things that happened. But as I look back, one of the reasons it happened was the circumstances around me. I was spending my entire time looking at them, being fixated about them, rather than going, Jesus, you got me. And I physically began to sink, and mentally began to sink, and got to the point where I just went, I cannot do this anymore. And guys, here I am 16 months later, and my story is that God reaches down and rescues each and every one of us when we begin to sink. When we feel like we failed. And when I was off for those months, I look back on the 6 and a bit years, and I was kind of like, I made so many mistakes. So many mistakes. Why did I say that to that person? Why did I act like that in that situation? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? And the message that just kept coming again and again and again was, you're not a failure. You're family. You're not a failure. You're my son. I love you. I stoop down and I rescue you. Because the other thing Cantor's Law says is that you're going to fail. You're going to fail at some point. All of us are. And Jesus steps down into our failure and grabs us. He became a failure that we could become family. This lovely, beautiful, polished cross doesn't really do the message justice. This is the greatest sense of failure, the greatest image of failure that anyone could have had at the time of Jesus. Crucifixion was the point of failure. It was where murderers and horrendous criminals were stuck up for everybody to see, and everyone went, failure! You wretched human being! Jesus was like, I become wretched human for you. that instead of failure, you become family. Guys, as we go with the simple 8 words, would you like to come to my church? We'll fail in lots of different ways. But if we keep going and keep doing it, and instead of fixing our eyes on the fact that that person said no, and fix our eyes on Jesus, and just go, do you know what, God's calling me to do this. I'm just going to do it. And the results are up to him. Well, if we do that, he will do what he will do. People's lives will be changed. It's 8 words. And 8 words that can change your life. Will you step out of your boat? Will I step out of my comfort zone? Will I go again to this individual and ask him when my knees are knocking and I'm not quite sure what to say and my mouth goes dry and I'm not quite sure how to do it? There's others of you sitting here this morning that it's not actually about those asking those 8 words, it's something else in your mind that God is calling you to do. And God is saying, will you step out of your boat and trust me in it? Knowing that halfway through you'll probably fail. Because you know what happens halfway through? Halfway through, all the excitement has gone. All the, this is going to be amazing. And you come too far away from the boat. Stuff has begun to happen to life, and we begin to think, oh my goodness, has God called me to do this at all? Oh, I'm in trouble. Help! Don't take your eyes off the person you called. If there's something burning in your heart and your mind this morning, go do it. God, I believe, has been nagging me now for about 2 years to start something, which I'm going to do, and I'll tell you more about it this time. And I'm a bit scared about it because I don't know what's going to happen, but God's been nudging me to do it. Is there something that's in you right now that is saying, I want to go do this? Folks, this morning, step out of your boat and see what God will do. Or simply go and say to that person, would you like to come to my church? Just might change their life. Let's bow our heads, let's pray for a moment.